Just Right by Lillian Moore and illustrations by Aldrin A. Watson. And the copyright on this book is 1968, so it's almost as old as Grammy. So it's an old book, but it's a good book. Just Right. For Leona, who cares about ponds and meadows. Old Mr. West had a farm. There was a pond on this farm, and in the pond there were fish and frogs and turtles. There were woods on the farm, and in the woodland lived birds and small animals and the white-tailed deer. There was a meadow, too, where all day long the grasshoppers cricked and the crickets chirped. Farmer West loved the farm, but he was getting old. One day he said to his wife, "The time has come to sell the farm. It is too big for me now. There is too much work to do." His wife looked at him surprised. "Sell the farm? But you were a boy here." "I know," said Farmer West. "And our boy Robbie," said to his wife. "He grew up here too." "I know," said Farmer West. "But Robbie is a man now, and he has gone away to the city to live. His boy Tommy will grow up here. I must sell the farm." The day Farmer West looked around for a sturdy piece of wood, in the barn he found a good piece of oak that would stand up to the wind and weather. Then he made a sign that said, "For sale," and when it was finished, he walked out to the road and put it up. One day a car stopped at the farmhouse. The man in the car said to Farmer West, "I want to buy a farm. I see this one is for sale. May I look around?" Farmer West showed him the farm. The man liked everything he saw. He liked the big red barns and the cozy white farmhouse. He liked the broad fields and the woods. But when they came to the pond, he stopped. See the chicken? The pond was like a looking glass, showing upside down trees and an upside down sky and an upside down world. A duck came swimming along, making an upside down duck in the pond mirror. "This farm is just right," said the man. "I like everything but this pond. I'll have to dry it out." "Dry out the pond?" said Farmer West. "Why, all kinds of things live there. All kinds of pond plants and pond creatures." See the duck? He kneeled down and cupped his hands and let the cool pond water trickle through his fingers. "This water comes running down from the brooks," he said, "and it soaks deep into the soil, keeps the land from getting thirsty." "But I want more land for planting," said the man, "so I'll have to dry out the pond." "No," said Farmer West, "I will not sell my farm to you." Many people saw the sign, "For sale." Many people came to look at the farm. One man wanted to buy it. As they walked around the farm, he said to Farmer West, "This is just what I've been looking for." They stopped to look at the pond. Today it lay sparkling in the sun. "Pretty, isn't it?" said the man. "A farm needs a pond like this." Farmer West smiled to himself, and they started back to the farmhouse. The path took them past the woods. The man stopped at the woods and looked around. The woodland air was cool and wet and leafy, and the trees were noisy with bird songs. "This is a fine lot of trees," said the man. "Yes," said Farmer West. He touched the bark of a tall oak. "Some of these trees are older than I am." "They ought to bring a lot of money," said the man. "I'd like to cut them down and sell them." "Cut down these trees?" said Farmer West. "No, I will not sell my farm to you." One day a man with his wife saw the sign, "For Sale." They stopped too and wanted to see the farm. They walked all around the farm with Farmer West, and they said to each other again and again, "Why, this is just right, just what we want." They looked at the pond and told each other how much they liked it. "It is so cool here," said the wife. They stopped in the woods and told each other how happy it made them. "It is so quiet here," said the man. "We like everything here," the man told Farmer West, "except the big old meadow. I'd want to take out all that grass. It would make a good field for corn." "Take out all the meadow grass?" said the Farmer West. And he did not sell the farm to the man and his wife. Farmer West did not go back to the farmhouse. He sat in the meadow on a tree stump thinking. He heard the clear whistle of the meadow lark. He thought about that. Here in the secret clump of grass, the mother meadow lark had her nest, but no one's ever going to find it, thought Farmer West. She never flies up from the nest or down to it, always walks to it through the grass. Larks don't have nests in trees. They nest in the ground. Some people don't know that. It began to rain, and Farmer West thought about that, how gently the rain fell on the meadow grass, and how lightly it fell to earth. Soon the rain would soak into the soil and down into the grass roots. Some of it would run into the tunnels of the meadow mice and be held there for a time. After a while, some of the rainwater would find its way into the well on the farm, and some of it would trickle into the stream and the pond. Farmer West thought about the pond, and the pond creatures too. He thought about the woods and the old trees, but then he thought how big the farm was and how much work there was to be done. When he got back to the farmhouse, he said to his wife, "I must get rid of the farm very soon. I'm going to sell it to the next one who wants it, no matter what. And I must tell Robbie so." Farmer West sat down and wrote a letter to his son in the city. Then he walked slowly out the road to mail it. The mailbox stood beside the sign that said, "For Sale." Farmer West looked at the sign. Then he dropped the letter into the box. A few days later, a car drove up the road and stopped at the farm. Farmer West and his wife were sitting in the kitchen when they heard it. They looked at each other. "No matter what," said Farmer West. Suddenly, a boy came running up to the farmhouse yelling, "Grandpa! Grandma! We're here! We're here!" "Why, it's Tommy!" cried Farmer West. "Mother, look, it's Tommy!" Right behind Tommy came Robbie and his wife. "Yes, we're here," said Robbie. "How much there is to talk about." It seemed they would never be done. Then Robbie said, "We want to come back here to live. I want Tommy to grow up the way I did, to fish in the pond and play in the meadow. And I want to climb all the trees," cried Tommy. That day Farmer West walked out to the road and took down the sign that said, "For Sale." When his wife saw the sign, she said gaily, "I'll be happy to throw it into the stove." Farmer West turned the sign around in his hand. Then he shook his head. "No," he said, "it's a good piece of wood, and it will be just right." "Just right for what?" said Tommy. Farmer West smiled. "Just right for you and me to make a birdhouse," he said. That's the end.